3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hey, this is Mitch with Red River Real Talk, formerly known as Red River Edition Podcast. Formerly known means the last two podcasts. So here we are in podcast number 3, episode 3. Is that what we call it? Episode 3. And man, it's just real talk. This is what we do here. You know, I like to pride myself in thinking I try to look at the world around us. You know, if you're not careful, you can be involved in the media. You can stay in tune with everything that you see on your social media. And what I tell my friends and family is you can either be fed the news or you can research it yourself. And typically 99% of us like to be fed everything that we're told. And even if you say, no, I don't want to be fed the news, you are fed the news every day. If you're on TikTok, if you're on Facebook, if you're on whatever, you're fed. For instance, today we're going to talk about the state of the, we're coming off this week being the State of the Union address, which was last Tuesday. Normally we do the podcast on Tuesday. We forgot about it. Here we are Friday. We're doing it. But the State of the Union was talking about everything that was going on in the United States, whether it was true or false. The speech was great. You know, he did a good job. It's impressive to see an 80-year-old man stand up there for 72 minutes and to be able to speak as long as he did. And he really did well. I'm not a Biden supporter. I don't support Biden, but I was impressed with the way that he was able to stay on track, because I get off track really easy. But I don't have anything in front of me to read. Can we get some stuff in front of me to read?
I mean, we can get you like a teleprompter.
Okay. But really, we don't know what we're talking about until we get started. So today we're doing the state of the car business. Talk about where we are in the car business today. Just yesterday, I was reading the news. I was being fed the news, right? And so I was reading it. One article says, the loom and doom of the car business shows you where inflation is today, right? And so it's talking about how bad the car business is because the values of the used cars are dropping. So right now's the time to go buy your car. So I scan, through my little Newsbreak app, and it says value of used cars are on a rapid rise. And I mean, right there, I think it's within three swipes. Talks about how low the used cars are dropping, how far they're dropping. The next episode is the value of the used cars is on a rapid rise. Man, I guarantee you, if I go study them journalists, they have no idea about the car business whatsoever, except for maybe they bought 4 cars in their entire life, right? And they're just going around, and most of the time, somebody interviews somebody, they're, yeah. They don't, but they're not paying attention. They're not in it. Let me tell you, folks, the used car prices, we talked about it last week, were dropping drastically, right? The used car value had fallen. They've been up 40%. Now they're dropped nearly 20%. And here we are this week. I was at the auction and everything's climbing. So the second article was correct. And where they got their information, I don't know. I didn't really research it, but I was just thinking, it is correct. Because I've been at the auction. I was trying to buy cars. They were bringing $2,000 to $3,000 over MMR. What's MMR? It's the Manheim Market Report. It tells you what they're bringing wholesale at the auction. You can look at J.D. Powers, which formerly NADA, you can get values from it. You can look at Kelley Blue Book, get values from it. You can look at Black Book, get values for it. MMR tell you what they're currently bringing right now at this moment. And they're $3,000 over what they had been the last couple of weeks. So yes, if you're driving a nice used vehicle right now, a nice one, right? Don't bring in your 190,000 mile with the 2 bumpers hanging off, needs a radiator, check engine lights on because it's overheating. That car will bring zero because the cost of fixing anything nowadays is astronomically high. But if you're one of those people that take care of your car, have it well maintained, you've got good tires on it, windshield's, in good shape, the interior's pristine, you've got a nice car that's going to bring a lot of money right now. Congratulations. Thank you. And we're going to ask you to come trade it in. Why would you want to trade in on a new car, right? We just talked last week. Right now is not the time to buy a new car. Last week we said that. The incentives aren't there. The rebates aren't there. But what did we say? Dalton, you remember what I said? He don't remember because he don't listen.
I do listen.
I said that they're going to come back.
Oh, the rebates,
and the
yes,
rebates
come
are
back.
going to come back, and they're here. And it's never been so exciting that we actually are able to do radio ads and Facebook ads and TV ads talking about discounts. And so we've got discounts. Ram come out with 0% interest. We've got 1.9% interest on Jeeps. Ford's got some 3.9% interest, 5.9% interest. We've got heavy duty trucks that I've seen this podcast is for everybody, but I'm talking about our direct website.
Yes.
Over $10,000 off. Again, we're finally there. We got heavy duty trucks at $10,000 off. If you're driving a low mileage heavy duty truck, and it's one of those that I talked about a few minutes ago that's pristine, now's the time for you to come buy a vehicle. So we're in that market again. And it's crazy how much it can change so quick. And here we are. And what causes it, Dalton? What causes this?
Causes all the rebates and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Days supply. So you've seen all these vehicles sitting on car lots. You drive by a lot right now that you've seen empty for months and months. You can just look down at the store in Jacksonville, has been totally empty. Now they're getting inventory, and and it's not a lot of inventory. They may have 20 new cars as opposed to 2, but if you look at it average, so a Ford or Dodge is looking at from average, it's a bunch, right? So their day supply are constantly it's climbing like crazy, and they want to incentivize the vehicles, which is why the electric cars, I think we talked about that last week, why Ford come out and announced for the consumer, they're going to lower the prices. No, they're lowering the prices for Ford because they can't sell them. The day supply are steadily increasing. We've got 7 electric cars in our inventory right now. So if anybody knows anybody wanting to buy an electric car, please help me figure out how to market to them. We can't figure it out. Dalton is struggling to market to the people wanting to buy electric cars, aren't you, Dalton?
There's the electric car people. I think they really understand, and they know that it's not the right thing, because it's like that video I sent you of the Hummer EV.
Yeah,
they sat there for 45 minutes, only gained 60 miles, and paid $19.
Yeah,
to me it's a scam. It don't make sense.
What's it cost to go 60 miles in a Hummer? So the Hummer's not that big. It's probably the size of what a little bigger than Explorer, about a Bronco. Let's say a Bronco.
Yeah, Bronco.
So a Bronco gets what? I mean, you can get 20 miles per gallon.
Yeah, you can. My Bronco
15 miles per gallon.
My Bronco got about 15. So I'm gonna say
so that goes 60 miles. Let's say 60 miles would be 4. You get 15 miles per gallon, so that's 4 gallons. So 4 gallons of fuel will cost you how much?
And right now, gas is $2.99, so $3. So $12.
Yeah, $12. So it costs you $12 to go 60 miles. How much did that guy say it cost?
$19.
$19.
And he had to sit for 45 minutes.
Sit for 45 minutes. So you can go get 4 gallons in 45 seconds.
Mm-hmm. For $12.
It took him 45 minutes, and it cost more money.
Yep.
But if you charge at home, it'd have been cheaper.
Yeah, right. But that's the whole issue with electric vehicles is it's not convenient. And I think a lot of people are opening their eyes to that and seeing that, oh, maybe I should just stick with the hybrid right now if I want to be more energy efficient, because electric vehicles they're not ready yet.
Well, people aren't buying a Hummer electric vehicle because
I don't think people are buying the F-150 Lightning.
They're not buying it to save fuel. They're buying it because they had the money to buy it and they thought it was cool.
And it can do that crab walk.
Yeah, do it. And it looks cool. People weren't buying the Lightning because they wanted to save the environment. They were buying them because they heard they were fast and they were cool. People weren't buying the Mach-E because they wanted to save the environment. People weren't buying the Tesla because they wanted to. People were buying them because they thought they were cool. I mean, that's all there is to it. And they had plenty of money, extra money to waste on it and have their other car. We've already come to that. We know that. But let's talk about the used value prices. Why are the used value prices climbing, you think?
Used value? Well, because, I mean, that's a good question. Because, I mean, you stated that we're getting rebates because we're getting more new inventory.
Yep.
But with
so you think as the new come down, you think the used would come down too?
Should.
The new's so high, so it still hasn't affected, but it's an organic climb. It's an organic climb. So it's remember what I said a while back that the government controls our pricing? They totally control it. Here it is, tax time. Government pushes out the tax. They regulate when that tax time comes. We know when it's coming. Whenever there's free money given out, which is taxes. For a lot of people, it's not free money. It's taxes you paid in. For a lot of other people, you didn't pay in a dime of taxes, but you're going to get $7,000 or $8,000. That's free money. When that free money comes out, that's when used car prices start to climb. The government's always in control of our pricing. The pandemic came. The government put fear in everybody, controlled our prices to drop. They were able to come out free money, controlled all our prices to climb. So the government controls pricing everywhere, right? Whether it's a fear of pandemic or whether it's just them giving free money, or I was thinking about this yesterday, heavy duty trucks. People need them. People have always drove heavy duty trucks, even if they're not pulling a trailer. They just like heavy duty trucks. What slowed down that back 15, 20 years ago? 15 years ago? What slowed down people just buying a heavy duty truck to drive?
I'm gonna say the cost of diesel and stuff went up.
Well, cost of diesel went up, but what happens when the cost of diesel goes up? What happens? People gripe at the government. They're mad. My eggs go up. My milk go up. My bread goes up. Everything at the store goes up.
Inflation.
They control diesel. So they thought, well, let's increase diesel prices, and then your normal person will quit buying a 3/4 ton diesel truck. And that did happen. But every time it happens, people get mad at the government. So then what? Well, let's make it to where the diesel truck doesn't get 22 miles per gallon anymore, right? Because they used to get 22 miles per gallon. A 4-wheel drive diesel truck would get over 20 miles per gallon. You remember those days?
I do.
You're young.
I do, because my dad used to drive a 97 Dodge 1-ton with 12 valve Cummins and one of his best trucks ever. They used to get really good. But I will say his F-250 that he has now, which is a diesel, on the freeway, he has to be on the freeway, he gets 21 miles to the gallon.
Well, that's good. Well, so the 5.9, I know the 5.9, my buddies used to get 24, 25 miles per gallon, 20 miles per gallon in town. And people would buy them, salespeople would buy them, because they could have a truck, 4-wheel drive, and they could still drive and get 25 miles per gallon. Well, they couldn't raise diesel prices because it hurts cost of goods. So what they do? There's emissions. They put on emissions. Remember,
the death
bogged them down. Not only did it make the vehicle cost more, it made it get less fuel economy. And I tell you this, they weren't on the road as much because they're in the shop all the time.
Oh yeah, because
check engine lights going on. They're clogging up. This emissions. They're trying to save the smog inside of a container, and it clogged the vehicle up. And
do you know what death fuel is?
No, tell me about it.
I have always been told that it is certified chicken poop.
Okay,
that's what.
Were you fed that, or did you study it?
My dad told me it.
You're fed it.
I've fed that. Okay. A DEF system is just, to me, is a pointless system, and it is something that they can do.
Well, this was before DEF. This was just they just increased the emissions and put the regeneration on it, regen on it. So what happened? Well, the government had to figure something out. They had to figure something else out. We need to just make it burn better and hotter and cleaner. That's where the DEF came in. So when it regens, it pours that DEF through it to make it burn hotter and cleaner. And I had to say it did help. I mean, we don't have as many of them clogging up, but again, it adds the cost to everything. But they set that mandate, and so that now goes all the new trucks too. Yep. So all the new trucks that are tracking your bread, your milk, your eggs, if you can get eggs. Did you see where that New England plant blew up? Another egg plant.
Another one?
Yeah, this is what it had like 1 million chickens or something that it got destroyed. So anyhow, that's a whole nother story. Don't be fed the news. Research it, right?
Research the news.
But anyway, I was just thinking they controlled the diesel, and then now here we are today. You can't hardly even get a 3/4 ton diesel. They're so hard to find. Although Ram's got a $2,000 rebate on them right now, and I'm going to say you have till Thursday to get them bought. You need to hurry up and come buy one because they will be gone. But you can't hardly get them, and because I think it was the fear of the fuel pricing going up last year, that all the manufacturers, they started pouring their money into other products instead of that diesel, and they were only ordering the heavy duty products. They're letting their fleet customers get them, right? But anyhow, that's another way that government controlled the pricing of vehicles.
On the diesel trucks, before we leave, I've had some of my friends and family ask me before, do you think there'll ever come a time that the normal consumer, the normal customer, cannot have a diesel truck anymore?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it'll probably be the next mandate that the government tries to control. You'll probably have to get a permit at some time to make sure you're using it for business, not just using it for fun. I mean, people were deleting them, right? So let's just delete the emissions. If you take the emission standards they had on them today, you still have some sort of emissions. But if you take the standards they have today and delete the EGR, delete the DEFs, the truck runs so much better. The truck runs so much cleaner. The truck gets so much better fuel economy, and that's fine. People are doing it all over the place. Now people are scared to do it because they had huge fines from the government. Said, wait a minute, why are people still buying these trucks? We tried to make it to where they're not feasible to have. The only reason to have it is to for work. So then they start researching, they're deleting them. Let's form a committee and let's go into all these little mom and pop stores that are deleting them and start finding them. So now you can very rarely buy, when you delete it, you have to get a computer system to bypass the onboard computer so that it can run. So now all those people building those things are seeing big fines. Some people are still deleting them. I really don't know how. We don't do it because we don't want to get fined by the government and go to jail. I mean, we could probably do something a whole lot worse and spend more time in jail or no time in jail, like stealing catalytic converters. But if you delete it, speaking of, I mean, if you steal a catalytic converter, you go in jail and you get out the next day. Mm-hmm. That's bad for the environment.
It is bad for the
environment. But if and you have no fine,
no fine.
But if I delete one, I'm going to get a $10,000 or $20,000 fine. I can still want to be okay, but if I delete it,
what's crazy though is they have all these huge rules on the diesel trucks, right, about deleting catalytic converters and all that, but we have people doing it all day long on half-ton trucks, and there's no rule against that.
Oh, I'm sure there is. It's just they don't follow it because that's not the agenda. The agenda is to get these diesel trucks off the road. So did you delete yours?
Evan's got it.
Why'd you say his name? You just said his name out loud.
I have no exhaust.
Oh, okay.
He literally has no exhaust. Him and Seth.
Yeah. Yeah. You can hear Seth. It's pretty loud, right? But anyways, I think that's part of their control to control our pricing, not just pricing. They're trying to control how the consumers react. They try to control us to do what they want us to do, which is also why they try to give the tax rebates to buy an electric car. They're trying to control us to buy an electric car. The consumers by far don't want an electric car. Normal consumer does not want an electric car because it doesn't make sense. If I live in an apartment, I can't charge it. I don't even know who to call to set up a charging station at my house. I'm not sure how to do it. I like going to the gas station every morning. I get a donut, coffee, and get some gas. I kind of enjoy it. That's part of my pattern. So by far, the consumers don't want it. But if we manipulate them into buying the electric car, that's what they're doing. And it's so sad that the Congress and the Senate and the people in government, that's all they do is try to figure out ways they can do is to try to manipulate us into the behavior that they want, their agenda. But anyways, that all being said, all we're talking about is a car business, but a lot of the pricing always revolves from the car business. And that's where we are today. Today may have been a little bit boring to talk about, but there it is. If you're wanting to buy a car right now, I mean, if you got a nice one, come trade it in. We're going to find you a deal. I do think by the middle of February, here we are, February 10th, I'm going to say by the 15th, 16th, 17th, we're going to see even more incentives out there. Is that crazy? I think more incentives. And I think March, we're going to see some incentives again.
Well, see, I've heard people talk about, though, that, this summer, more this year, the housing market's going to crash and the car market's going to crash. But you're saying that you don't think
it's going to crash.
This year?
Yeah, let's go on. So make your purchase by the end of March.
Okay.
Because come April, there's going to be new car incentives, but the used cars will start to drop again. The organic, the tax time, the free money will be gone, right? So the free money will be gone. Everybody, when people get free money, they spend it like that. And it's going to be gone like that. And so by the end of March, so there'll still be some dealers trying to replenish their inventory, but then the day supply of used cars are going to be sitting. And then in April, your car will start dropping, no matter how nice it is. But remember, if you got a rough car, it's really going to drop. Nobody wants a rough car right now. With the prices being so high, people are going to buy a car. They want to buy a nice car. Dealers are going to buy a car. They don't have time to fix it. I'm not going to pay the big price and it sit in the shop for 8 weeks trying to get fixed, because guess what? By the time I get it out, it's dropped $3,000. I can't do that. So, we were trying to trade for a minivan yesterday. I had a transmission bad. Transmission's on back order 6 weeks. I know the book value is this. I know your transmission's going to be replaced for free. It's under warranty, but what's the book value going to be? We traded for a Pacifica. It's been over a year now. We've lost $18,000 on that Pacifica. $18,000. If you want a Pacifica hybrid, I got it. And it's a bargain to somebody right now. But we traded for it. As soon as we traded for it, we traded for it because it had a recall with no fix. So we trying to help our customer out. 8 months, 9 months, 10 months on the recall. Finally get the recall fixed this week. Guess what? Another recall that I can't sell it. $18,000 I've already lost. So it'll probably be over $20,000 by the time. So that's why dealers don't want to give you full value when they know they got to work on something, even if it's free, because the book value is going to drop. If you find a dealer that does, it's on them. But those of us that have been hammered, like the $18,000 Pacifica, we're a little more cautious, right? So they're falling. It's crazy. So come April, your used cars will start to fall. Summertime, I do believe we're going to see a used car crash. My opinion. That's my opinion. And I believe it's right.
Opinion.
I think the housing will be dropping by the summer. I mean, unless we see something drastic, but I don't, which will be free money. So the only thing that will keep the used cars from crashing, the only thing that'll keep houses from crashing is, again, if what? The government gives out free money. So if we see the government do something, then it'll increase. But right now the government's trying to slow down inflation. So they've gone out there and told everybody we want to stop inflation. We're increasing interest rates. We're trying to slow down the inflation. Car prices going up, houses going up is part of the inflation. So they have said we want to slow it down. So if you're out there living in a world that I think I can buy a house today and it'll be worth more this summer, or a car today and be worth more this summer, you're not reading what you should be fed, because they're telling you we're going to slow it down. We're going to decrease prices. Make sense? Yep.
I learned something new.
What?
You taught me stuff today.
Oh, I did? Yeah.
Yep.
Good. I've been researching, right? Researching.
Don't get fed. Don't get fed.
Don't get fed, and stay out of the darn system, Stay out of the system.
The Matrix.
Who's that guy that went to jail that everybody's talking about right now?
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate. Somebody asked me yesterday, said, are you because I was talking about staying out of the system. Don't get in the system. And it's really funny. This guy got out of the military. So I couldn't get out of the military. He said, because I don't like being in the system. And I said, and he's going home to eat with a significant other, which I thought was his wife. I said, okay, see you. Go home and eat with your wife. Somebody said, oh, he's not married. I said, why aren't you married? You know what he said? Well, she's got kids, 3 kids, and we're trying to make sure she gets her benefit off the tax return. I said, that's the definition of trying to stay in the system. You're scared of losing something from the government, and so you don't want to live under what I call the favor of the Lord, by living in a right relationship, in a marriage relationship with your wife. So again, we put government over God. All the time we do, and not even think about it, but we put government over God. We want to make sure the government takes care of us. We forget that the Lord's will is so much better, and he is going to take care of us. So anyways, Andrew Tate, is that his name?
Yes.
Andrew Tate. I've listened to him because I've heard that he's really popular amongst kids. So I have listened to him. I totally agree with a lot of stuff he says, but there's a lot of stuff he says that are way off. Okay. And that's where you got to be careful. That's where you can't be fed what people are just teaching you. You can't be fed what people are saying. And I think, the things that he went to jail for may not be true. But I do think he doesn't respect women the way he's supposed to respect women. It doesn't matter if those are true or not. I've seen some other things that he's done.
A lot of people say that, like, if you come out publicly and say you're a supporter of Andrew Tate, like, you are just scum of the earth.
Yeah. And that's where you got to be careful. That's if I'm saying stuff that he's saying, people try to align you together.
Oh yeah.
But we can agree on certain topics, but disagree on that. But that's where the world gets you. They try to align you with that person.
They label you.
Just because you agree on 20% or 50% or even 60. We may agree on 60% of the things we're talking about, but then there's still another 40 that separate us. And so don't align me with Mr. Tate. I do agree with a lot of things he says. I do think you need to get out of think outside the system. I do think our education process for the last 40 years has been geared to keep us inside of a system of security on the government. We're taught to get a job with good benefits, get a job with good retirement, get a job. So that's where a lot of people become government workers, because they have good benefits, good retirement. But within 10 years, a decade, a lot of them want to quit, but they're scared to quit because they're working for that benefit, retirement, or whatever. With 15 years, they hate going to work, but they don't want to get outside. They got stuck in the system and don't want to get outside that system, right? So we've always been geared that way. And whether the government set out to do that or not, I do believe that there's a God of this world that's not the God that we should worship, that is set up to use that against us to try to stay in that system. I don't believe when I talk about God that Andrew Tate and I are talking about the same God.
No, I think he's Muslim.
Well,
Or
I don't know
Islamic.
what he is, but I don't believe. Yeah. Anyways, we can go into that.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening to Red River Real Talk.
There you go.
Red River Real Talk. And we are looking for some more sponsors. Right now we're sponsored by nobody but Red River Auto Group. So if anybody wants to sponsor us, Pfizer, we're looking for big money. Come on. We promise we'll let you on at the end of the show. And somebody else will talk about the side effects real fast. Thank you. Tune in next week.